So you'd think during a general election campaign, the Labour Party might focus on, I don't know, fighting the Tories, offering a kind of compelling vision for the country about what it's going to do, how it's going to fix so many of our problems and challenges and injustices. Well, I'll tell you this, they had some other ideas, this lot. In the midst of an election campaign, Keir Starmer decided to initiate a purge to drive out those he has decided, well, let's be honest, actually have some principles and beliefs, but who turn out to be disproportionately women of colour. He went, of course, for Diane Abbott. That's been going on for ages. He's just been repeatedly dishonest about the independent investigation, so-called, which ended ages ago, about readmitting her. He had no say over it, he said, and now he's let her apparently back in after humiliating her for months, the first black female politician, MP elected in Britain. And then there is also Faiza Shaheen. I've known, disclaimer, Faiza for years. She's the kind of best candidate, really, Labour could possibly ask for. Daughter of a mechanic, a Muslim woman of colour who defied the odds to become a really successful academic, a broadcaster, and she's representing her local seat. I've been there. I've seen her campaigning. I've seen the love, the adoration that she gets. Such an enthusiastic group of campaigners, activists, people who just normally would never touch politics, but they're in it because someone like Faiza's there. She doesn't speak like a robot too, like some of the automatons who now run Keir Starmer's Labour Party. Now, she found out whilst campaigning for her seat, which she's been doing for years, and I should say in 2019, when it was a bad night for Labour, one of the only swings to Labour was in her seat because of that campaigning. Let's just listen to a quick clip from the Newsnight interview she did just after learning she'd been purged while she was out campaigning, holding her newborn baby.
And one of them was about my experiences of Islamophobia in the party. Like, how am I not allowed to talk about my experiences of Islamophobia and the double standards that I've seen and that we see with Diane Abbott, for instance? I honestly, I'm just so shocked right now to be treated this badly after being such an active member of the party. And, you know, we were one of the tiny number, 6 Tory-held seats in 2019 that had a swing to Labour. To act like I am some kind of person that can't, you know, that isn't good at elections, that, you know, that frustrates the Labour's purpose. I mean, you know, I teach.
Is that what the...
Now, I said she's got a lot of love, and a rally was organised in her constituency. Let's just see the enthusiasm there.
I'm not the only one. Are you with me? Who do we want? When do we want her? Should she stand? Yes. Should she be treated the way she's been treated? No. What does Tinkford and Woodford Green want? Faiza. Right. Thank you.
All right, Faiza. Hello. How you doing?
Yeah, I've been better.
I mean, just tell me, just the without getting kind of too much into this, I suppose that element. But I mean, this is toxic behaviour. It's just really toxic. Just you find out by a briefing to a Murdoch newspaper, so that's how you find out. That level of intentional public humiliation is very infuriating from the outside. But you've put in so much work. You know, you've got all these people who've been campaigning with you and who really are so invested in you. That emotional impact is a lot.
Yeah, it's been a lot. I can't really unpiece all the emotions I'm feeling. You know, I'm just, I'm devastated. I'm devastated because, yeah, I worked really hard for this seat, but also it means so much to me. You've known me for a long time. It wasn't like someone that I wasn't those people that was like always wanting to be an MP, but it just the way it happened and the seat came up and it being my home seat and it being Ian Duncan Smith and my mum being affected by disability cuts and just, you know, growing up here, depending a lot on the community to look after me when things were difficult in my family. You know, the schools being my schools, the hospital being where I was born. It's just, it's very much in my heart, and it's hard to think where I go from here. And yeah, you're right in terms of the humiliation, just to be treated that way. I mean, I mean, obviously I've never been treated so badly in my life, but it's not even close. I mean, I just don't understand what I did to deserve this level of aggression, I would say.
Well, I hope you know you didn't deserve any of this aggression. And though the intention was humiliation, you've seen an absolute avalanche of love and respect off the back of this. So I hope you've seen some of it, because I've just been seeing it relentlessly on my feed, Instagram, elsewhere. Now, I just want to read out actually just some quotes, actually, which were endorsing you. A fantastic candidate, a fabulous candidate, praising your passion, your expert understanding and insight on inequality. I am, of course, there quoting from Sir Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party, who repeatedly tweeted out his gushing praise for you, not once, not twice, but multiple times on social media, as he used you, I would say, to try and win over Labour members. I mean, that's what he was doing. He clearly wanted to be leader of the Labour Party. This was before he became leader of the Labour Party, and that's why he was doing that. So he praises you publicly, and then when he's asked about including your candidature, says we want the highest quality candidates. In Bermondsey, Labour standing Neil Coyle, who got suspended after racially abusing a journalist and had a sexual harassment case upheld against him. You have been booted out because you liked a description of a Jon Stewart clip about how we are overwhelmed online by pro-Israel accounts when you tweet about Israel. That happens. And for example, you tweeted about your experience of Islamophobia in the Labour Party and wider society. I would go a bit mad about that. I mean, what does that tell us about the modern Labour Party as things stand? What picture's been painted there?
Yeah, I mean, I think a few things. I mean, one, I think what's happening right now, which is like a shakedown of seats so that the friends of people at the top can be put in, or the people at the top can be put in, you know, various NEC people, etc. 2 of the 3 people that interviewed me now have safe seats. They looked at the data here, data that my team and I have collected diligently in rainy Saturdays for many years. And they thought, yeah, this seat's going to go. Do we want Faiza? She can't be controlled. She's too left wing, whatever that means. I'm an academic at LSE, I mean. And, you know, she's been a bit bolshy about Palestine in internal meetings. And so maybe, you know, maybe this is a good opportunity for us to put someone else in instead. And I think that really conveys a sense of politics of that. Sorry, the baby's crying, but of politics that is about. It's not about people with connection with. Sorry, I'm so distracted with the baby.
No,
okay. Sorry. Go on, sorry.
I mean, I just want to say on that, I have to say, I don't want to, look, I'm going to raise it. When Jeremy Corbyn was leader, and there was even murmurings of dissent in local parties about female candidates who were pregnant, that was a media storm.
Can I just say, this happened to me during the meeting when they were interviewing me. This is what happened, and I didn't have childcare. My baby was here. He doesn't usually cry like that, actually. I think he could feel my stress. And they were like, oh, you can take a second if you need to put him down or whatever. I couldn't hear what they were saying. I was trying to deal with him. I mean, it was, you know, I just keep thinking that like 35, 40 minutes of that call with one man, Michael Wheeler, that I see has got a safe seat, who didn't even put his screen on. Like the lack of respect. That 40-minute interview.
Because he said he was out and about. Is that right?
Out.
So he's doing this interview to end your political career. Yeah. Someone who ends up getting a safe seat because him and his mates have all carved out a bunch of safe seats all over the country.
Listening to me, you know, the decision was made. So it's, you know, it's, I don't know, it's the process. You know, it says what does it say about the Labour Party when they adopt a process that in any other walk of life like would be considered unfair dismissal, you know, if it was a normal employer. What does it say that they think they can replace me with someone that knows nothing about the area? You know, it's a different type of politics. It's the type of politics that is, it's not a kind of heartfelt, hopeful politics. It's a very different mechanical politics. It's a complete disregard of grassroots democracy and what people want on the ground. You know, I think it says a lot about where the party is in terms of, okay, we're going to win big. Let's just do what we want, instead of like, we've got space to stick to our values. And that also is, you know, it's, of course, you know, I've obviously been aware of various things that have happened in the Labour Party and their positions that have disheartened me, but this is really something, I think that's why so many people have got in touch and said this was the last straw for them. And I wonder if I don't even think they thought about me and the impact on me for 1 second, or the impact on the people here for 1 second. The fact that a 14-year-old comes out canvassing with me because I spoke at his school when he was 10 years old, and he comes now because he's older and he wants to support me. The impact on us at all, the way that they've crushed our hope, and that is the coolest thing.
Before I just ask you about that local response, I mean, how do you feel about Keir Starmer sending all that tweeting all this gushing praise about you over and over and over again in his quest to become leader, trying to enamor himself with the sorts of people?
I mean, I don't know what his motivations were for that, and I don't know how much he's really engaged right now. I don't know, you know, but I think it's very, very clear that the party he leads right now sets different standards, different people, and has treated me so appallingly. To be out canvassing, to start getting your phone blow up with the Times and the rest of it, and then still having to wait 2.5 hours before you even get an email saying what's your fate, and then, you know, just being told, you know, you shouldn't go. People saying don't go on TV, they might roll it back, and I was like, no, I have to tell my story because they're already briefing horrible things about me. Yeah, whatever he said in the past, clearly doesn't have any respect for me now.
The Labour Muslim Network, which represents Muslim members and Labour Muslim voters, I mean, obviously they've condemned this, but in the past they've done research which shows that Labour Muslim members overwhelmingly think there's a massive problem with Islamophobia in the Labour Party, and that Keir Starmer personally has failed to do anything about it. I'm just thinking, how do you just in that context, in terms of Islamophobia? I mean, if a Jewish Labour member had been suspended partly because they tweeted condemning about anti-Semitism in the Labour Party and society, look, I think quite rightly there'd be quite a lot of uproar about that. Yeah. You look at this and think, what does this tell us? I mean, it's.
I know. But I had to go through an answer for each tweet, how it's going to hurt the Labour Party electorally, and I said. And I looked at that tweet and I said, well, I think the Muslim community is probably quite upset about bigger things right now, like Labour's early Gaza position. And so I was also told, because I tweeted about when they did the Rishi Sunak poster about where it was about paedophiles, and it was a terrible association, and I tweeted something saying that this, is unacceptable, and I got told off. Tweet has been flagged, and I said,
it was a disgusting poster, just so everyone's aware. That was a disgusting poster, but carry on.
And they said, you shouldn't be talking about things like that. And I was like, why not? So I can't talk about Islamophobia as I see it, or issues of racism as a woman of colour. And they said, no, you should come in to us just internally about that. And just that fact, and that tweet was used against me to say I'm hurting them. That would can you imagine that? Can you imagine that for a Jewish person? And neither should it be, of course.
It's about consistency, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane, the double standards, and they gaslight you so much, but it's really just almost too much, I just can't get my head around it. I'm just still in shock, I guess.
I mean, just a couple of other things. I mean, in terms of the response locally, what have you been hearing? Because I've seen just how invested people are in you. I've seen it, but back in, I've been out a few times actually in your constituency, and just you get a lot of commitment, a lot of just people who aren't that engaged in politics otherwise. What have people said?
Yeah, no, people have been so kind, and I'm so thankful, because I had really felt like I'd let people down, and it's been really nice that people have been so kind, and these mums organising, a rally for me. It's so sweet. The sense is that, how dare they treat you like this? How dare they treat one of ours like this? I guess a bit like Diane Abbott, which is really heartwarming. The local members, people, this really sweet lady who's been a member for 60 years. She's just said, I'm giving up my membership because of the way they treated you. She's not a lefty. She wasn't a Corbyn supporter. Someone else last night is just turning 70. He's been a member of the party his whole life, lives here, has been working on getting us this far for many years. Told me he just feels like he's wasted his whole life. He was really looking forward to me being the MP. People are really, really upset. They're angry, and they're just shocked and appalled, and just people saying, for the first time in my life, I'm not going to vote Labour.
Well, I know that feeling. In terms of the candidate who's been parachuted in, so just so people are clear, what that means is the National Executive Committee decide who gets appointed for constituency. No one votes for that. No local member. So Faiza had to be reselected, and overwhelmingly got reselected by her local constituency. And it wasn't like they didn't try to stop her, which is obviously they never got over that one. Overwhelmingly got another mandate from her local members. What this means is someone's imposed with no one voting for them, and that NEC has just basically, Keir Starmer supporters have just given themselves a load of seats because now they're in charge of who gets a seat. Keir Starmer promised in his leadership campaign that wouldn't happen, that all local party actors and NEC in positions, he said, local party members must decide who represents him in all elections. How do you feel about someone not representing? This isn't someone who's got anything to do with the constituency. They're a Brent councillor.
Not at all. It makes me so angry that they can do this to people here. We deserve so much better. And as I said, it's a different type of politics when you think you can just parachute anyone in and it's fine, and they can, as long as they go along with whatever the party line is, rather than someone that is so deeply connected and that cares so much. When I go to the schools and speak to the young people, I see myself, like, I feel so proud of them. I feel like already them, I'm their auntie or something. But it's very different type of politics to the one that I've adopted, and so I think people are just, it's not the way that I would have wanted a Labour government, I guess.
And just finally, a lot of people do want you to stand as a candidate. They feel you're someone who represents your constituency. You live and breathe your constituency. You put in all the hard work. The Labour Party are now going to use all that work, all that data, all those conversations to the doorstep. That's not, they just steal it and give it to another candidate who hasn't done anything.
They have actually already blocked it. By the time we got to do the canvass on that Wednesday evening, I think it was, we were like, why isn't the app working? And so before they'd even told me, hours before, they'd locked me out of the system. They're taking all that work, all those volunteers that came for me, and they came because of my politics. They didn't come for Labour. A lot of those people came because of where I stand, and because of my commitment here. But that date is all gone. I'm just trying to work out, honestly. It's just been such a whirlwind, and I really, really appreciate everyone messaging me. I've been so upset. And I've been looking at the messages, and they've really been giving me strength. So thank you. I am reading them. Sorry, I can't reply to everyone, but I am reading them, and I really do appreciate it, because my biggest fear when I saw that, when this kicked off on Tuesday, whenever it was that they're just going to ruin my life. So I really do appreciate it, and watch this space the next couple of days. I'm just going to think through a few options and see, but I'm not going to just let them bully me. They don't get to do this to people.
No, and look, you don't have to say it, but I can say it. They are bastards, and the fact they just, in their desperate quest for power for its own sake, are prepared to try and destroy people's lives, good people's lives, people who are actually just out there to try and make things better for people, who are there for the right reasons, driven by things like the injustices they've suffered and seen in their own families, their own communities, and they try and break that in favour of machine corporate lobbyists and all the like, people who represent developers. I mean, that's what they're doing. It's disgusting. And you know what? Labour win a big majority because the Tories have destroyed themselves. The Tories are toast. But this is an example why me, a lifelong Labour voter, can't vote for this party. It is a soulless party run by soulless machine politicians, dead behind the eyes, weirdos who are prepared to break people and not even change the country which they seek to lead, just want power for the hell of it. Anyway, that's my own view. But I hope you know how much love you have and how much support you have. All of us will be pleased to get rid of the Tories, but it is tragic that we end up with this as the alternative. So please show Faiza all the love that she needs. I will be, follow her on her social media accounts. Let's see what happens next. But whatever you choose to do in your life, you've got so many people cheering you on. So please like and subscribe. Please share this video. But thank you to you, Faiza.
Thank you, Arian.